Hey, this is a Mercury retrograde map. Can you imagine? I mean, calendar, not map. One of the things that Mercury retrograde is, or has to do with when it comes to action, it's really, really crazy how the cycles of the stars, the cycles of the planets, all of that kind of good stuff comes down and it affects the vibration here on Earth. So we are just coming out of a quite a heavy, like a heavy feeling, like a heavy burden, if you will, that looks at what it's called is Mercury retrograde. That's when Mercury goes kind of against the flow. During Mercury retrograde, it is said that we're not supposed to sign contracts. We're not supposed to get into any kind of bondage situation as far as being obligated to something or someone for anything. We're not supposed to make those deals during Mercury retrograde. Here's the great news. The great news is that we're coming off of Mercury retrograde for the next 2 months. So yay, finally we'll feel a little bit of a sense of things kind of going with the flow a little bit more smoothly, a little bit easier. Things will start to feel like it's taking traction, that action in your life. And instead of getting caught up in the deep-rooted emotions surrounding our action toe, which is our middle toe. It is our fire toe. It is all about how we make decisions and, you know, how our temper affects making those decisions, right? So thank you for being here. If you're joining me live, great. If you're joining me on the replay, that's wonderful. This is Jamie Allen Bishop with Soul Heart Entertainment for ToesDay, ToesDay. So if you ever want to see any of the older videos regarding ToesDay, you can type in hashtag Toes, TOESDAY as one word, and that will show up. That should pull up several of the videos, and hopefully we'll be able to see some of that stuff. Hello, thank you for being here, my administrator. All right, so let's talk a little bit about action in our lives. How does action show up for you? Action sometimes shows up as decision making, right? We, at least for me, decision making can be a really challenging thing, especially because I'm super empathetic. I worry about what other people are, you know, how my decisions are going to affect them, right? I think that there's a lot of people out there right now like that who worry a little. We worry a little too much about what other people think, don't we? It happens. So when we are making decisions and those decisions feel like we're not honoring our heart, we're honoring what somebody else wants, or trying to keep somebody else from feeling uncomfortable or awkward, the best way to handle that is to drop into our heart space and really, really get a sense of feeling about the greater good for all. If the greater good for all means we move forward with our action, even if that action is not supported by the people in our immediate social circle, we gotta feel that fear and do it anyway. We gotta feel that resistance and do it anyway. It's one of those things about showing up here and setting the example that you want to see in the world. So the way, what that looks like on the toes specifically, on the action toe specifically, is on a middle toe. If you're struggling with decision making, that might look like your middle toe is, you know, sort of hiding underneath one of the toes beside it. So perhaps it's underneath the communication toe. Let me show you what that looks like. So if we look at these toes, the middle toe is a little bit under, it's kind of hidden under that communication toe. There's the communication toe. there's the action toe. So see how that action toe is a little bit hidden. So where is this person hiding action in their lives? Hi, Catherine. Thank you for joining me. So when we hide from taking action, a lot of times what that will show up like is being upset or angry or, frustrated with the world around us, right? Because action is always associated with the emotions that we're experiencing. And therefore, it's no surprise that our middle toe and our middle finger, if we can think about it that way, like they represent how we feel. And sometimes it's the feeling of angst in our lives and the feeling of I don't know, just, right? So on the action toe, that will look like the toe is hiding, okay? Somebody who, the action toe is the ultimate toe to be looking at if you're somebody who is a hiring manager or somebody who's looking to hire employees or helpers with your business, because the action toe will tell you whether that person is all talk or whether they'll actually get done a project that you've given to them. So for somebody that will get it done, the action toe comes straight off the foot. It's pretty reliable looking. I'm looking for a picture. Okay, so it's the exact same picture. So what's really interesting is that this action toe right here is hiding. That's her right foot, okay? Her left foot, if you look at her action toe, it's pretty much coming straight off and there is no hiding around that action. So if the left foot is the internal self and the right foot is the external self, she has maybe difficulty following through with, or, she hides from, she lets her emotions control her actions, okay? And when she doesn't communicate it gets really, really uncomfortable. On inside, internally, she has it all mapped out. It all comes out really smoothly. The vision that she has in her mind is really accurate and really clear, and it's concise and to the point. And so she probably gets very frustrated when that imagination doesn't actually work out in the fruition of how it looks when action is being taken in her life. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about how that looks. Here's an action toe. Here's a good action toe, actually. There's a little bit of separation between each of the feet. Each of the toes, not feet. There's not several feet here. There's only toes here. But there's just a slight separation between those, which means that this person's super, super organized. They are probably the person in the house that knows where everything is. And the action toe is kind of standing on its own. So this person does not need to rely on communicating the action that she's going to take. There's a tiny bit of webbing, if you can see. If I were to hold my finger right there, you can see that where it meets the foot, it's pretty even. Let's find one that's not quite that, or that's maybe a little bit less. Okay, so here's one. Here's one that has more webbing. Okay, so you can see that there's a distinct, like that toe, from where this toe meets the foot and where this toe meets the foot, it's way back in comparison where these two toes meet the foot. We call that a little bit of a webbing that's happening on these feet. And when something has a little bit of webbing like that, it's usually somebody who's very intuitively connected. They're probably somebody who has super, super high sensitivity to the world around them and the energies around them. And they probably lack confidence in themselves. So they probably struggle a little bit with taking action in their lives. So when I see somebody with that happening in their toes, oftentimes we'll have a conversation around, what action do you want to take? Who do you need to communicate that with? because when we have somebody who's struggling with taking action in their lives, and they know the kind of action that they need to take, even if it's a little bit out there or a little bit off from where they feel comfortable or for where they think their circle of influence is comfortable, right? That's often what keeps us from taking action, is when we're worried about what somebody else will think. That's what I was saying at the beginning of this. So when we have somebody like that who is a little bit insecure about what people will think about it, they probably won't take action until they communicate it, until they can come up with a plan that's clear and concise, and that will serve the purpose of setting them up for success in the eyes of their circle of influence. Now, for relationships, for the idea of honing relationships, or not honing, what's the word I'm looking for? For the sake of having really good, solid relationships, and really getting past some of the stops that we've allowed to happen in our relationships over the course of time, right? The best way to do that is to get that communication as clear as possible so that we know and understand each other a little bit better. The other way is to make sure that you're communicating in a way that that person understands, right? So in order to take action, we need to have those two toes right next to the action toe, kind of looking pretty straightforward. This looks like a fairly young person. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember practically where any of these pictures came from. Toe readings of the past. But so I'm not sure how old this person is. I would imagine, it's my imagination, that they're young. They're fairly young, probably in their mid-teens to early 20s. And all of their toes are super, super close to each other. So while these look like absolutely gorgeous feet, this person is going to probably have a little bit of a challenge making fast decisions. They're not going to be a fast decision maker. They're going to be somebody who's going to want to research it, who's going to want to talk to everybody about it, who's going to want to make sure that all of the circle of influence is okay with that decision. And then maybe they'll move forward. So I would say that there's insecurity happening there. Even though these are just stunning toes and this is a stunning, looking set of feet, really, really, like, she comes across as smooth, she comes across as somebody who knows what she wants, all of her toes are exactly even with each other. There's no one toe that, stands out as particularly holding back or not comfortable. Diseased is what I was going to say. But she definitely has a little bit of a challenge around self-image and self-security and self-reliance and self-worth. Let's just be honest, okay? So what else do we talk about? Oh, I know. There was somebody who asked a question about their toes. And, for the sake of this person's privacy, I'm not going to mention names, but I will let them know that they sent me a picture of the back of their feet, not knowing any better, which is totally fine. I could see some of the things that were super exciting to see. So this is not the person's foot, but this is, the angle that I was sent the picture of. So in that person's image, one of the things that I noticed was the second toe, which is our air toe or our communication toe and creativity toe. That toe stuck up really, really high. So let's say my thumb is my big toe, my first finger is my air toe, my communication toe, and the middle toe is my action toe. So this toe would have, kind of come up really quite high And I don't know what it looks like on the ground because that's not the image that I was sent. However, knowing feet as well as I know, I can guess that when she puts her feet on the ground gently without pressing, the way that communication toe would show up is that it would kind of be off the ground. So I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a disconnect between what she imagines in her mind, or that she's probably pretty stuck in her mind a lot of the times, and being able to voice that, whatever it is that's going on in her head. So maybe she's dreaming about the future. Maybe she has really, really neat dreams or images that float through her mind. Maybe she's very, very connected to spirit or God. And so there's a lot of communication going on in her life around that. That said, that tells me that there probably needs to be a little bit of grounding work in her life. There's probably a little bit of, going out and stepping on the grass. If that's a possibility, definitely give that a try and just, kind of send the earth your love and light and allow it to send you love and light back. The earth is the most it's very much like our bodies. The earth is like our bodies. Our bodies heal themselves. The earth heals itself. It's like this amazing thing that it blows my mind away every single time. I get so excited when I talk about, especially when I talk about earthing, because I am an earth sign. I'm a Virgo. So earth is really, really, really important to me. So as an earth sign, it's really important for me to ground myself. It's really important for me to meditate every day. It's really important for me to go out and connect with nature, whatever that looks like. It's something that I'm still working on in my life. It's something that I feel like I need more of it. So I'm working on adding more of it into my life, which just feels amazing. So every time I get to experience that, it's like, ah! So you'll probably see some images or little video clips of me at the beach. We just moved to California about a year ago. And it just feels so good to be able to go to the beach and to experience just the earth people are also very well connected to water for obvious reasons, right? They kind of go hand in hand. So anyway, so back to these communication toes that were kind of up in the air. I would definitely say that grounding yourself. There are crystals that can do that. There are herbs that can do that. Eating habits, of course, will make a big difference. And really just focusing on when your thoughts are, when you feel like you're up in the air about how things are going in your life and what's happening and where that's affecting your life, particularly in a way that you don't want to have it affect your life that way anymore. The best thing to do is to really connect with the earth. If you have to take a bath, that's another way. I mean, really all elements work really, really well in the bath. Even fire needs a little bit of calming down sometimes, right? That water element will definitely calm down a fire element if they're too fiery, right? Anyway, so that would be my biggest advice. The other thing, because the subject this month in November is about taking action and temperament, one of the things that happens when we're up in the air and, when the communication is up in the air and the action toe is, is fairly well grounded, there's probably a lot of you want to take action, you want to make it happen, you want to get it done, but that communication thing is a little bit it's holding you back somehow. So maybe journal about where communication and action and how that affects your emotions or your temperament, because when your temperament is affected by all of that, we need that, when we get into those I'm going to show you a vibrational chart, and even though I apologize, it's backwards. What it is that where where this red is, you know, it's funny because all the colors that are associated with power and leadership and really owning who you are and what you're about, those vibrate kind of at that lower base vibration. So not that it's a bad thing. You need those base vibrations in order to build upon, right? You need that foundation laid. But in order to get past that base living or that survival living, in order to get into that thriving living, we need to release some of that base energy, okay? So the base energy might show up as shame or guilt, maybe some apathy, maybe fear, maybe grief. Kind of those are in that suffering category. When we get into the green elements in the green area, it's more, a little bit more courage and neutrality. You know, maybe look at things with a little bit more of a neutral eye, so that you're seeing things in life happen with a more neutral viewpoint. So maybe take a step, you know, there are so many different exercises that you could do to look at things with more neutrality. The next stage up into those blues and indigo colors are willingness and acceptance and reason, right? Into the enlightenment, right? I mean, up into those peace, joy, love, and enlightenment areas, right? So it's just fascinating to me how it works, how there's definitely an ebb and flow to all this and a balance to all of it. So when you feel the most balanced is probably when your communication toe and your action toe are in alignment with each other. So maybe one of the things that you can do is work to massage your communication toe. And, you know, I'm getting this from the image that I was sent, which was not particularly clear. So hopefully I'm speaking to you. Hopefully this is resonating with you. Hopefully it's making sense. We can talk about one more thing that I think is really, really neat about the action toe, or really about any toe, depending on what it shows up on. This is a foot that has what we call in toe reading angel kisses. See how both of those action toes have little freckles on them. Isn't that fascinating? Okay, so if you'll notice, the right action toe comes pretty straight off. It's hiding a little bit under that communication toe. And then on the left foot, we have the action toe coming off, but then look, it takes a dive to the floor. So that, like, the tip of it just kind of does that little dive thing, right? And it's also kind of hiding under that communication toe. So one of the things that we would work on with this person is the angel kisses are the angel kisses are an idea that that action or temperament for this person is a God-given gift. Okay? So in this person's God-given gift, they stop themselves from pursuing it. They stop themselves from experiencing there's too much insecurity here, because that toe goes to the floor and this toe is kind of hiding under that communication toe. So we would really, really work on self-esteem with this person, because this person is so meant to take action, and that action is what will get them this lifestyle of beauty and love and fulfillment, and something that feels so good, not just to them, but each of us who raises our vibration, we raise all the vibrations around us. So if you're not getting along with somebody, raise your own vibration. Don't look to them to raise that vibration for you. They're not going to. They can't. They can't yet. You are only responsible for you, right? You're only responsible for your vibration and how you feel and what fills you up, right? I love John Gray's little thing and his, the difference between Venus and Mars communication. Like, you fill yourself up until you're overflowing, and you can't help but make everybody around you excited and happy and feeling joy and love. It's not possible for them. And guess what? If they want to be miserable, if they want to be in that state of crankiness or discomfort or disease, they won't even be in your vibrational you won't even be able to see them, because that vibration that spills out of us into the world around us makes those people go away. It's just like energetically impossible for them to be around when we're feeling really, really good. They can't stand being around that. It feels uncomfortable to them. So you don't want to experience, somebody who's unhappy or in angst around their own lives. All you have to do is make your life feel really, really good, and they'll go away. It's amazing. It's like magic. The biggest thing that I keep hearing coaches say these days is your word is your wand. It's a Florence Scovel Shinn quote. Your word is your wand. It actually is one of her books. It's fantastic. If you've never heard it before, the best way to raise your vibration is through your words, through your languaging. Just start to notice it. Give yourself permission to notice it. Give yourself permission to change it. Every time that you say something, negative, and you acknowledge that it's negative, and in your head you're acknowledging that that's not how you want to feel anymore, that's not what you want to believe anymore, and you shift it, even just the slightest little bit, just recognizing it shifts it, right? But every time you notice it and shift it just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, every individual time is 10,000 times more powerful energetically than the negative thought or emotion. So when we acknowledge it, when we come to a place of knowing around feeling good and increasing our vibrational awareness, it's totally, I can't even say how fascinating it is that the things in our lives just magically work and fall into place. And people who don't want to be in that vibration won't be. And people who do, you'll attract new people that want to live there with you, that want to be in that high vibration, that want to have a good time and go to the beach and hang out and just be happy. Anyway, so focus on, I welcome you to really focus on your languaging, focus on where your words have power in your life. And when you notice that they are giving power that you don't want to attract anymore into your life, let's say, I heard myself say today that my body is in pain, and I probably did that during my dance video yesterday. I have a little dance party group. And I thought to myself, boy, that's not really serving how I want my body to feel after those dance parties, because I have so much fun and in our heads, and it's so much fun to be in that dance party that for me to say to myself, my body hurts, is not the right way. That's not how I want to feel anymore. So what I shifted this just today was my body is feeling the effort that I put into it in my dance party yesterday. And that's good, because that means I'm using muscles that I haven't used in a while. That means that I'm getting, that I'm working it out, that it's having to adjust to a new way of being. And that's a good thing. I like that. It makes me feel better. I'm not getting in nearly as many steps as I could be during this COVID quarantine crap. So yeah, so I want to get up and moving. I want to feel good. So when my body started to feel like, oh, this is change, this doesn't feel good, I don't like this, you know, our bodies and our minds try to keep us safe, and they try to keep us in this space of feeling the same that we feel, because if we feel the same, they already recognize, you know, the vibration of the cells recognize it, the body, the muscles recognize it. It feels safe. Even if it feels uncomfortable, it feels safe because that's what they're used to. So in order to shift that, we have got to wrap our minds around shifting the words that we use when we describe things like, my body is in pain. No, my body is giving me wonderful messages of what I need to do. And if my body is in pain over dancing, guess what? My body's actually really in need of getting up and moving more, right? So I'm very grateful to my body for telling me that it feels the exercise that we did in the dance party yesterday. And I'm super excited to make sure that it allows my body, that I drink enough water, that I have enough, I just noticed my water over here, that I drink enough water, that I have nice flushing going on, that I'm taking hot showers, and then I always allow cold water to go over my body after the hot. I love the heat, but that cold, oh my gosh, it just feels just as good because it kind of washes away that the heat. We want to have a neutral temperature of our bodies, right? So anyway, I digress. But for toe reading, if you are interested in learning more about toe reading through a private session, there are 3 levels that you can receive a toe reading at. All of it is done virtually. It has been being done virtually for the last 6 years. So I'm very, very grateful that that was all in place before this COVID thing. But you can get a level 1 toe reading, you can get a level 2 toe reading, or a level 3 toe reading. A level 1 is just kind of a basic overview of what is showing up in your toes. A level 2 is going a little bit deeper into the psychology behind what is showing up in your toes. And a level 3 has to do with giving a really amazing advice on how to release the things that are showing up in your toes. And if you don't know what toe reading is, there are a few pieces of information in the files folder on the Soul Heart Entertainment website, so you can look for those there. Anyway, thank you so much for being here tonight. This is ToesDay, Tuesday ToesDay with Jamie Allen Bishop at Soul Heart Entertainment. If you didn't join me live and you'd like to, I would love to have you on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Los Angeles, California time. And would love to have you here next week. Talk to you later. Bye for now.